This is the recipe for Fate Gingerbread men. They're lovely to make at any time of the year, but they're especially good at Christmas. First weigh 300 grams of Fate low protein all-purpose mix into a bowl. Add 100 grams of block margarine, and it's best if it's at room temperature. This will make it easier to rub in. Do this with your hands. Just cover the margarine with the all-purpose mix and squeeze it, and then rub it between your fingertips until it resembles fine breadcrumbs. Add 100 grams of soft light brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger and 1 teaspoon of ground mixed spice, and give it a stir. Next, you need to weigh 90 grams of golden syrup, the old-fashioned kind, in a tin. Warm a large metal spoon in a jug of very hot water, then scoop some syrup from the tin into a dish on your scales. The warm spoon helps the syrup slide off so it's easier to weigh. It's sticky stuff, so you might need to warm the spoon again to get the right amount. Add it to the rubbed in mixture with 1 tablespoon of cold water. Stir well until it looks like a crumbly mixture. And then, when you think it's ready to come together, make sure you scrape off all the syrup that's stuck to the spoon and just use your hands to bring it together into a dough. Place the dough onto the work surface. You shouldn't need to dust it with any extra all-purpose mix. The dough might still be a little crumbly, so make sure you get all of it together and knead it well until it becomes smooth. It might take a couple of minutes, but it's important to get it really smooth. Now, when you make gingerbread men, you will want to make sure that they will hold their shape as they cook. So I always like to do a test bake with a little of the dough. Pinch off a little, dust the work surface lightly with Fate all-purpose mix and roll it out. And then use any shape cutter to cut a biscuit. And bake in a preheated oven, gas mark 6, 200 degrees, for about 5 or 10 minutes. You will soon see if it's spreading too much or if it's holding its shape. This one isn't too bad, but it has spread a little, so to make it better, I add a good sprinkling of Fate all-purpose mix and knead the dough again a few times to blend it in well. Then do another test bake with the same shape cutter. This time I can see that the biscuit is a better shape, so all the dough can now be rolled out and shaped into men. Sprinkle the surface with a little all-purpose mix. Make sure there's a little on top of the dough and roll it out to just over 1 centimetre thick. Then cut out your gingerbread men. It helps if you dip the cutter in a little all-purpose mix to stop it sticking. And when cutting the biscuits, try to keep them close together. Lightly grease your baking trays. You might need 2 or 3. And place the biscuits on. Gather the trimmings of the dough and knead it to make it smooth again. But try not to add too much extra all-purpose mix, as this will make it too dry. Roll it out and cut more gingerbread men. I like to decorate them now, before they go in the oven. I use glace cherries for the smile. Just cut the cherries in half and then each half into thick slices. And then I use currants for the eyes and the buttons. And then I add the smile. You just need to press them firmly into the dough. And they're baked in a preheated oven, gas mark 6, 200 degrees for about 15 minutes. They will rise a little in the oven, and sometimes they have joined hands. So with a small knife, just separate them by cutting while they're still hot. Leave them on the tray for a few minutes as they are very soft when hot. Then transfer to a wire rack to cool. Fate Gingerbread Men. Just another idea, you could make gingerbread Christmas decorations to hang on the tree. Make up the gingerbread men recipe, and roll it out to about 1 centimetre thick. Use Christmas biscuit cutters to cut out the shapes. And then place onto a baking tray and bake in a preheated oven for just 10 minutes. Then take them out and use a straw to make a hole in each one, and then return them back to the oven for a further 5 minutes. When baked, if any of them have joined up together, just separate them by cutting with a knife, and then leave them on the tray for a few minutes before placing onto a wire rack to cool. To decorate, there are lots of suitable low-protein sweets, sprinkles and icing pens that you can use. The first thing to do is to thread a piece of ribbon through the hole you made and tie the ends in a knot. Then have fun. Don't forget you can even make the tester biscuit pretty. That's Fate Gingerbread Christmas decorations. And Fate Gingerbread Men.